Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day to you. Putting a smile on the King's face today. Start your day the Chicago way with Dunkin' Donuts. Brighten your day. Get the large size. Tell them Rosie O'Kelly sent you. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday to you. The job is done, as you saw yesterday, Marshall. Building the box. It's just a matter of Marshall doing some finishing touches for security and things. Didn't want to elaborate on that yesterday, but the top part of the box does lift off. It was not in the video, but you can see that the generator is going to have multiple layers of security in it now, which is a good thing. So I hope everybody's doing good today. Let me put this on live chat so we get it all.
Yes, I want to thank Rosie O'Kelly again for this great build that she did for me. She really sacrificed a lot of her time, blood, sweat, and tears in this heat and humidity to get this done. I want to thank again Mr. X for allowing us to use his tools and his property. And I want to thank, of course, last but not least, the chairman of the board for this beautiful generator. I think it came out great. I'm very happy, and I'd love to hear what you people have to think about it, along with the chairman of the board, Norm F.
Okay, Bastarde Brazil. Hello, Alex. How are you? Nice to see you, Kitten Cat, in the chat. Yeah, obviously everybody should be chaining their generator. It's not rocket science. It's a chaining technique and stuff that's going to be employed. But the nice thing about that, we know it's going to be chained, but the nice thing about that is from the outside, on first glance, it looks like a storage footlocker or something like that. And, when that thing's running, it's so darn quiet. And I'm impressed it can run your AC in eco mode.
In eco mode, I think, look what the box has done. Not only has it added some very nice custom looks to the rig, it's added a shelter for the generator, a layer of some sort of security for the generator. It's added that layer of stealthness. It took a while to make, but Rosie's ideas and design were great. I hope people can get an idea of how to make a storage box for a generator if you don't want to buy one that's already pre-made. I think it was an extraordinary project, but look at all the things that is provided for me and for this generator, for this rig. Like I said, security, stealth, looks, functionality. I think it's been a great project, and I hope people can get an idea of how to make a storage box out of wood for their generator. Anybody out there, maybe you guys can watch the video and see how Rosie put it together. You guys get an idea on how to do it yourselves, for those of you that are handy.
Yeah, people have been asking me about a restoration project on that. All that stuff is still up in the air. I want to get through my my California swing, the Pacific Coast tour coming up. I'd still like to get a place in Chicago, but you can imagine August, September in there is not the cheapest time. Mark Handler, how are you? Nice to see you. I think, I'm going to try to get on the computer today. I haven't done that in quite a while. So.
But I'm just asking everybody.
Sandy Callie, good morning, sweetie.
Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Mark. I just want to say real quick, please, guys, watch the box build on the generator on Rosie's channel. Give her a thumbs up because she did a great job on it, and leave a genuine, heartfelt comment because I think you guys will really like the video. It really is a good, great reveal. So,
like I told people, I'm not gonna, it triggers kitten cats and stuff if I say this, but Marshall is a pretty easygoing guy in person. I mean, everybody has limits of patience. When you're out in this heat and you have little engineering issues that have to be solved here and there, it got a little frayed on the last day, but it's all good, because the end result is good, and then it's fun to go out chooching and do things like that, because he has his take on Chicago. Obviously, he has exponentially more knowledge of Chicago than I do. So I go with the flow. People say, Rosie, you should leave. I have no idea where I'm going, in Chicago. In fact, I'm glad to have a Mr. X to show me around and a Marshall to show me around. Get to go to the gang hoods. Yeah, we'll be getting over there. Hey, Jeffrey, good morning to you. We got to be careful now because the heat is really going to be on tomorrow. It's going to be 100 degrees, 97 degrees.
3 days in a row of that, of a heat wave.
Yeah, it's basically 3 days in a row. And they got to be very careful. Good morning, Cindy. Thank you for showing up at Wrigley Field, Mr. X. Mr. X is an amazing, person. He's very giving of his time. He took an hour and a half while we were chooching a little bit of Boys Town and Wrigleyville over there. And a lot of people enjoyed around Wrigley. You were surprised how much it's...
I was surprised how much, like I was saying, even North Avenue, Milwaukee, Wrigleyville, all the new buildings, all the new development. Just in the past 20 years, I remember seeing it, how much it's changed in 20 years. It's been a lot of change, a lot of new buildings and additions. And it doesn't look like the old Chicago anymore. It looks like a new Chicago.
Well, I thought one of the interesting observations was Mr. X's statement that the bad neighborhoods are really
getting cleaned
disappearing, which makes me inclined to think about Oakland again and grabbing something in Oakland before that gets crazy with all the pressure from San Francisco for housing. It's got to be one of the best bargain cities in America. And if you do, the gangs start to get pushed out to other areas.
Isn't that what they call the word, and I've heard it,
gentrification?
Regentrification?
Just gentrification.
Just gentrification, where they just tear down these projects and then they just build and they move everybody somewhere else.
Let's see. So, everyone was saying Elvis has been throwing trash out the window when you've been chooching. You tolerate litter. Why would you talk to me about it, Carlos? You can address Marshall. You're another person that wants to have it reflect on somebody else what is done. I don't do that in 2019. If you saw it, you call him out on that. That's the bottom line. I don't bear responsibility for other people's behaviors. I know myself. I look for trash cans wherever possible. Yeah, Benny saw it, so I like Benny. Benny should take it up with him. Good morning, Nola. Good morning, Quinny. Nice to see you. He says, good morning, Marshall. Quinny.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Let's see. Let's see. The gangs will never leave that city. It's been home to gangs. I don't expect a gang activity to leave, but people's interest in gang activities. The internet changed a lot in terms of prostitution and, drugs are so deep into some of these neighborhoods now. Gangs can't control that stuff anymore. It's too widespread. But I've seen well controlled. There's a lot of Chicago. The police presence in Chicago is enormous. Compared to Detroit, was almost invisible in Detroit. I could count on two hands the number of times the 5 days I spent in Detroit that I saw police. Here they got them on bikes. They got them rolling around in vehicles. This is a very heavily policed city.
It is, yeah.
What's for lunch today? I don't usually eat lunch, Sandy. What I usually do is have like Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast and then have one meal at nighttime. Then that holds me really well overnight.
Yeah, that's Rosie's eating.
NB. I don't eat a lot.
Yeah, Rosie, that's Rosie's eating habits. Just a donut and a coffee, and then just a dinner. That's it. She doesn't snack. She doesn't have lunch. She doesn't do brunch. That's her thing.
Yeah, but I'll do if there's a buffet. He's talking about Reese's buffet. Here's supposedly a very good buffet.
Oh yeah, Reese's is a great buffet, Persian buffet. There's a red apple Polish buffet, but yeah, the Reese's buffet is a great deal.
I'm sure Scarlett, California has massive problems. Every state has problems. The state of Illinois, the pension system's basically unfunded. It's almost basically bankrupt for what they got to pay. every city faces issues. It's probably the decline of civilization as we see it here, and the east rises and the west sort of declines. It's been that way through history. You'll have, Constantinople and the Eastern Empire and the ascendancy of Roman and Western. It's been that way for millennia. What were you going to say?
Now, I have a quick question for you, and just for the audience altogether, about the word gentrification. When they tear down all these projects of these people that are, on welfare, and that they build up, they build up new neighborhoods and build it up for people who have money, and all these people that they move, where do they usually move them to? Is it usually like
I think it's a natural process. They don't come in with a bulldozer and level 10 square blocks. The only place I've seen that done is Reno, where they bought out every house and they just want to raze them to the ground. So it's a slow process. As somebody moves in, it's slow. They melt into other areas of the city that maybe aren't experiencing gentrification.
Awesome.
Like the south side, maybe it'll take a marginal neighborhood on what you call the border, east, north, south, down there near Jim's hot dog stand, and start to push southward there and take a chance and be pioneers down
Well,
south.
what I've noticed is they moved those people into the north side, into Evanston, into Skokie. They've actually moved them from the west and south sides into the north side.
This person says, Butters Love says they moved many to Bloomington, Illinois.
Bloomington, okay. Yep.
And then Allison says, Elvis, they're being moved up to Lake County, gives them a better life. I actually shared your video from Detroit about Ford. He loves car. Yeah, hey Cindy, thank you. It was a great visit to the Ford Museum and a great visit with man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Meeting him and hanging out.
That Ford Museum was really fun.
Move all bums to the middle of the ocean. Cornholio, good morning to you. Nice to see you. Good morning, Mel. So, I've noticed that Chicago really has, I get more information from Mr. X. Like we went over to Lake Michigan and sat on the edge of the lake and enjoyed. If you saw my Instagram, you saw some of the pictures. I think you took some video too from over there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but Mr. X was telling me that the cops have discretion when to close a park. If things are like along Lake Michigan there, when you're sitting out on the seawall, and if stuff is going crazy or drinking, the cops can immediately just clear out the whole area, which I found astounding, that the police have that much authority and that much power to be able to regulate. If things are going well, they can keep it open till 11 o'clock at night. If the stuff's hitting the fan at 9 p.m., it's like, everybody get the heck out of the park. I found that astounding, that the police have that latitude, instead of the city saying, hey, the park stays open till 11. It's your guys' job to keep it cool till 11.
I got a couple questions for you, Rosie. Why do you think the police presence in Chicago is much greater than, say, Michigan, Detroit?
I think there's more money here for police. I find that it's a wealthier,
more taxpayer money.
City.
Yeah.
I think people are much more. I get the sense in Detroit that some people, a good measure of the population, is just thrown in the towel. Whatever happens to the city.
Right.
Just chain and lock your doors at night, have your bars on, and hope you don't get hit by a drive-by bullet in the night. Chicago's a different story.
Right.
This is a very healthy city. It has very vibrant neighborhoods, and it also has this alderman system where people can bitch and moan to their local representative. And I think Chicago people have a history of not giving an inch when they demand stuff from the city of Chicago. The cops don't shut down the lakefront like that. We party many late nights at Montrose. Good morning, David Guns. Well, that's what Mr. X told me. They have the ability at that area to shut that down. So I can only go by what Mr. X said.
The other question that I have for you, Rosie, is can you give me an example of gentrification in California or Baltimore?
Baltimore, I can give you an example of, there was a place called Federal Hill around in the area where Babe Ruth was born, was and Ford Avenue on the way to Fort McHenry, that were terribly run down homes. They had the shitty form stone from the 1930s on them, and people moved in, bought those houses cheap for like $5,000 or something 20 years ago. They ripped all the form stone off down to the brick. They sandblasted the brick. They put their brass fixtures out front of their home again. And the whole block just swung over in a matter of 2 years. Bam! You know, prices now, some of those places you can't touch for less than $400,000 or $500,000. That's gentrification. Okay, it's risky. I call it more urban pioneering.
Where did those people go, though?
I have no idea. It happens gradually enough that there's no perception that people are being. There's an overall feeling like, oh, where are these people going to go when we push them out of these homes? Well, it's amazing. They always find someplace else to go.
Right.
What's with the grin? Let's see. Good morning, RV Radio. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm hoping you're doing well. Hey, Miss Coelho, nice to see you. Okay, read me. There's Sandy Callie. I'm reading you, honey. Kathy Weezer. Yeah, I can't tell people to cut their hair and all that stuff. So it's going to be 39 if I'm going to sweat. Yeah, you're going to be sweating, honey. It's going to be 100 here tomorrow. I'm reading you, Sandy. I spent a day walking around Chicago. I love the French market there in the Greek part. Yeah, we saw Greek town. We rode through. It was pretty small. How you doing, Jen? We used to go to the dunes a lot, so you hear a lot of information about. Mr. X has been here a long time, but he's not one to, as Marshall says, he doesn't really go. He's like Marshall's amazed he's so willing to go out with me. And
Mr. X is a homebody. He's like many of you, like to sit at home and just watch YouTube, watch TV. He gets out in the wintertime and goes to Florida, but snowbirds a little bit, but that's about it.
I think Friday's going to be the clubbing night for the club, so stay tuned. It's not a night, like I say, the heat is going to be oppressive here the next few days, and it's been, being in this van has been very challenging. But if I have made it through my Chicago stay, I feel like I can make it through anywhere here with the heat and humidity.
I was trying to just say that chooching, when the sun goes down, as long as the sun is down at about 8 o'clock, it's not that bad to chooch as long as you have a bottle of water with you. But chooching in 100 degrees with sun beating down on you is dangerous. You're asking to really,
chooching is doing a walkabout. You throw in the sun and the humidity together, man, you really got a combination.
You got a combination.
You're in meltdown mode. So.
Right.
Oh, thank you very much, Shannon Marie. Thank you, honey. When you get picked up, I remember now. Yeah. Chooching is just going out on a walk around, looking around, going live with everybody. Chooching, let's see. Nobody follows the Urban Dictionary. Fourscore, how are you? Nice to see you. They've been on this channel long before you came along, Kit Kat, and heard me chooching, and it's way back in 2013. So I have a couple videos up describing what chooching. It could be a noun or verb. We could say, man, that generator's really chooching along good, man. It means it's running good, or let's go out on a chooch too. So yeah, Cindy's like, I do know hot, Cindy. I know you're down in the desert, honey, 120 degrees. But damn, I'm at 100, and you throw in that humidity, and you really got a lethal combo.
Where is Cindy from?
She's down in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah,
I'll be coming down there. Be coming down to Yuma to get some.
Oh yeah, I don't think Elvis. Yeah, the dry heat. I always think you can knock about 10, 20 degrees off if there's no humidity. You feel more comfortable because the moisture evaporates so fast from your skin. It's almost like a cold.
Right.
You going to the beach today? Probably tomorrow. Today's a very interesting plan that's laid out. We're gonna be doing a live stream, a very interesting one, a very non-traditional live stream. It should be pretty fascinating today, to do something very traditional Chicagoan here as opposed to touristy. So we went over a map, we discussed stuff, the best thing to do, and I think we've laid in a plan that it's not going to be possible to really walk the streets today, but we'll be able to have some fun. Yeah, so it'll be good. I think you guys will have a good day today. It's Wednesday. I know I'm getting a later start, but you got to get cleaned up, get cooled off a little bit, have get a dip into the air conditioning on. So I've seen the same thing repeated. Cindy Talk, can you put you up in oh, Cindy Talks can put you up in things.
Well, the Glendale area, I heard, has a lot of Assyrians in Phoenix.
How about Flagstaff for comfort zone? So
Flagstaff is comfortable temperature-wise, but that's would be a great escape. It's only 320 miles from Los Algodones, actually, which is not that far. And you can get really good temperatures over there. What is it? It's 55 in the nighttime with zero humidity and 85 in the daytime. So the weather there is perfect.
Cornell, how many Big Macs can Elvis eat when he's not hungry? He actually surprises me how little he. I mean, I eat more than. I'm going to be honest with you. I eat more than he does in a day. You know, I mean, that's the reality. He's seen me shovel food like there's no tomorrow.
I've seen
fast eater, and
I've seen Rosie polish off a full rack of ribs at Gale Street Inn a few years ago, and potatoes au gratin, and soup, and salad, and for a person her size, she can shovel down. She's like a Tasmanian devil when it comes to food. She can shovel down.
I'm usually the first one finish my plate too. We don't eat lunch, and it's just right on the dinner. I'd like to try another place for pizza tonight. I think it would be fascinating to find a place that's really renowned for pizza and have a go at that tonight. Wednesday night would be a good night. Don't have to worry about weekend traffic and crowds, so it should be pretty good. Left wing wacko. I'm just talking about my experience when I'm here. We've been on this build. I mean, the usual routine is get up, get a cup of coffee, have one donut, one old-fashioned donut, and then that's basically it until eating. And sometimes it's been 10 p.m. at night. So.
I think that.
Hey, Karina.
An ideal lunch for Rosie while she's here is to just have a simple beef sandwich, because they're not that big and it's like a little snack. And to have like beef and an ice is a perfect size lunch to keep you going until dinner and stuff.
Yeah. So
but Rosie
haven't had the Italian beef yet, so I'm looking forward to that. To trying that. So we can do that before the adventure begins today. That's fine. I love the Italian beef. Last time I prefer it without the hot peppers on it, but it's a good deal. So probably as a special thing, hit that first today, and then roll on to our chooching destination today, which I think will be it'll be very classic Chicago today. Very classic.
Are you going to reveal to them what we're going to do?
No, I think I'll just surprise them when we get there, and then we'll be underway. And
it'll be interesting. I've been on it. Well, we won't talk about it. We'll leave it as a surprise.
Good morning, Dory Lynn. Good morning to you.
We'll leave it as a surprise.
Hi, Rosie and King. Dory Lynn in the chat.
How you doing, Dory? Lynn?
Let's see. So it'll be a good time today. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for dealing with the heat and still getting rest. I don't use AC in here. I don't really have a fan. at night. I'm not complaining. I cracked the windows a little bit, and I just stripped down, and I'm just back there, and by about 2 a.m. in the morning, it's a little breeze starts to stir, and it gets good. So I'm proud of myself. I can survive this boondocking without AC. So
I have to say that I'm proud of Rosie for roughing it out. I thought she wouldn't be able to handle this heat for a long-term basis, day after day of not having air conditioning and just sleeping in the nighttime and relying on that and a breeze. She's toughed it out, and I thought that
thought I'd run for the hills.
I
to
thought
a
that the
hotel.
heat would break her and she would have to get a hotel room, but
Cheap.
we've had some rough nights with the heat and stuff, but she saved a lot of money in the long run. Think about it, she's saving $60 to $100 a day.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
This has been over 30 days now of van dwelling, and I'm as happier now and as hooked on it as I ever hoped that I would be. I won't give this up for a hotel room. I may give it up for a streaming house. I'm trying to get something set up in San Diego, but I might end up in Arizona myself and trying Flagstaff and places like that. We'll just have to play it by ear. But I am doing the California coast tour, and that's going to be fascinating coming up.
So Rosie, you never really mentioned to the people what you thought. I know you mentioned it to me, but what you thought about Mr. X's Road Trek 210.
Beautiful. He's got a road track that is in unbelievable condition. It's built on the Chevy platform. It's got a great layout inside. It's long. It's like a 22-foot. It's the longest of the road treks. And he whispered the price he paid for it to me. Unbelievable. This guy got the deal of the century on this rig. So, and there's not much that really needs, even though it's sat for a while. Maybe some new rubber on it or something, but it's really in fantastic. It's like the dream machine of road treks. It's like the best of the best of the best. That
would you recommend that van to a lot of people if they could find one?
But you're not going to be able to find one.
Right.
I can find 170s, 190s all day long, which are still nice rigs. So. Yep, he knows RVs. Yes, he does. So we're going to try to get over sometime to Petite RV and
Prescott and Payson, Arizona Rock. Where is Payson at? I heard of Prescott.
How you doing, Sister Earth? Good morning to you. Yeah, so I might go down myself and check out the Flagstaff and see how cool that is down in that
I remember
area.
when buying my van and buying Lisa Marie in June 2014, I had left Vegas and it was really hot, like 105 degrees.
Yeah.
And then I went up to Flagstaff and it was like 70, and in the nighttime it literally got down to 35 in June.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how nice and cool it was, and sunny and no humidity. I couldn't believe the climate. It was so
It's
was
all
so beautiful.
altitude, I guess.
Yeah,
up there.
it was great. I love
Altitude.
Flagstaff.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Santa Fe and places like that. I don't want to push the envelope too much in summertime, I'm trying to tell Rosie every chain you get about word truth. You have a definition copy paste. Yeah, most people in here know what the definition of chooch is. Kitten Cat will never sway enough people to matter in here on the channel. It's like
Wasn't
it's
chooch
like throwing a
derived?
pebble into the ocean. It'll never happen.
Wasn't the term chooch derived from something?
Chooch was a term that I picked up from Canadians that I worked with in the Royal Bank of Canada.
Oh,
way back in 1991 through 1995. They'd say, we're going to go chooching out to lunch. Do you need anything?
Oh.
Or, man, that car really chooched down the road there. Yeah, for me, I'm an open chat. I mean, Kitten Cat's welcome here. She expresses an opinion about the origin and meaning of words, but everybody on my channel knows what context I use chooching, and I don't ever use the Urban Dictionary anyway.
Rosie, do you think you could get a better steak and say, now Mark Handler's in there, he's from Omaha, right? They're known for steaks, right? Do you think you can get a better steak or as good as a steak in Kansas City or Chicago?
I think I could probably get a comparable steak there.
to stay.
Yeah, Omaha had all the big stockyards, the tradition of the huge slaughterhouses and things like that. We went to Johnny's original 1922. Steak was delicious, but they sort of fell down on some of the
Sides.
Yeah, I find a lot of signature places coast on their main item. Like Johnny's throws down the best steak in Omaha. They win the award year after year. Yet when it comes to the size, this is why they don't earn Michelin stars and stuff, because the whole meal has to be of a high quality.
High quality.
So they pre-bake their potatoes sometime in the early afternoon, and then they'll just throw them in the microwave and goo some cheese on top and call it done. So it was kind of disappointing, but that's not unusual. So many places do that. Hi, Rosie. Very hot here today. After I finish my third, gonna clean up the kitchen, then gonna go float in the pool. Good. Go to one of Rick Bayless. How you doing, Kevin Chambers? Cindy said I had to look it up if why there's no ketchup on hot dogs. It's more a cultural thing. The 50s vendors thought ketchup drew flies. I don't know, but they'll look at you like you're a crackhead if you go up there and ask for, can you get ketchup on your hot dog? Okay, well, there's one place. What's the place they'll make funny about?
Oh, Winter Circle.
Yeah, Winter Circle.
Do you know who Rick Bayless is?
No.
He's a famous Chicago chef that went to Mexico, and he's got all these restaurants in Chicago, and he specializes in Mexican food. Really famous guy, Rick Bayless.
Right. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Sandy Callie, if you're in here, I did look up. Ketchup was used to cover the taste of spoiled meat. I don't know. I just like a good dog, a good hot dog. Rosie Chuchin is always awesome. We see new places. Epic Chuchin. Yeah, you can have a good one today to Harry Carey's Steakhouse. You know, that sounds expensive as hell. Allison, you know? Holy cow! The only thing I know about the Cubs is holy cow. Yeah. You know, I knew I'm all American League, man. I was of Ernie Harwell and the Detroit Tigers, Chuck Thompson, Baltimore Orioles, got to remember, I grew up in the American League East, man, the most competitive division in baseball. Baltimore Orioles, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox. Murder in that division.
Rosie, did you know that there's also a big thing of like Buffalo-style chicken wings in Chicago? They've had
I'm sure they are.
There's a lot of people that have some top-notch wing places too.
Glad I was gonna. So I'm not. You know, I have my limits on what I want to pay for a meal. You know, so. As you guys know, I'm not monetized at the current time, which is fine. I don't want to waste the time on the road to tear into all that and rejig things on the channel. So I'm trying to be very careful with a buck. I have further travels and adventures coming up on over the next month or so. So
I think Rosie should at least just one time probably go to Garib Nawaz, since it's so cheap and I made it famous over the years. Oh, you kind of already had.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to go. I'll do a review of Garib Nawaz. That's fine. Look, I like the, you know, what he thought was lamb, of course, was mutton that came out on my dish, which is okay. I've eaten mutton many times in my life in China and places like that. But you know, he'll get the hot chili chicken wrap, and the first couple bites are really good, but then that cumulative heat. How you doing? Nice to see you, New York Cat. That cumulative heat.
Yeah.
If you can back that off or control that, Garib Nawaz is it's good value over there for that.
Yeah.
And maybe tonight do a walk in Devon Avenue. I don't know. Over there it might be kind of fun, and people scream, "No, Devon Avenue!" But walking on Devon might be pretty cool.
A walking chooch on Devon Avenue at say 7, 8 o'clock would be epic. There's a lot of different things there to see.
I don't even know you, Neil Anderson. I've never seen you on this channel before. So let's see. So I think that would be pretty cool to go down to Devon Avenue. Also, Neil, I was raised in a city. I was raised in a very large family where dinner was dropped on the table and people just scrambled for it, and it's an East Coast thing. And I don't mind people talking over top of me. I'm used to it in my life, so it's not going to move my needle anything. I missed out on the Irish Fest. Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to be at a festival today. It's going to be hot as hell out there. Will you be going to a trans bar? I will. I hope Friday night be going to a special event, because I might be hitting the road Sunday or Monday. I've got to look at I got a 4-day journey back to California there, so boondocking the whole way, so we shall see. I'm hoping Friday night is going to be it for epic. I will spend a lot of time, and that'll conclude the Great Lakes Tour 2019 summer, which has been epic. Marshall, what do you think about Toronto, Detroit, and Chicago?
Chicago, I know most of it. There's a lot of places that I haven't tried. Like Rosie's talking about pizza. I'm not a very big pizza eater, but I follow, Steve Dolinsky's a Chicago foodie. He's really good. He's a great foodie where you can get information about where to get good stuff at. So I'm gonna try to find Rosie some places for like hot dogs, pizza. But this whole Great Lakes tour, it's been great. It's opened me up for new things. Seeing Toronto and seeing Buffalo and all around Lake Erie, and then Michigan. And Rosie knows how much I love Michigan. She knows how much I love it there.
Yeah, well, I'll be on the south side too today.
I think that well, we need to do.
Hey, Andrew.
We have a big surprise for everybody today, and I'm not going to talk about it. But also, we were going to do an extensive driving tour too. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to happen. That'll be very interesting. That'll be epic. That might take 5 hours probably.
It'll be a 5-hour chooch probably going around and hitting all that, just like we did in Chicago.
And
the
Michigan,
good in the
Detroit.
hood. Yeah, I mean up in Detroit, the good in the hood.
And yeah, I mean, I think yeah, we're gonna see him do a lot of things and stuff.
Yeah, so this is the week to really make fun now in Chicago. Now that everything has been all done and the box is built and
right,
it turned out good, and it's time to move on to other. To other things. Almost Uber 76. Nice to see you. Well, I might as well tell you today what's on the agenda today.
You're gonna let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, might as well let the cat out of the bag because I don't want to oversell it. One of the things that I've found very fascinating in the city of Chicago is the elevated railway that was founded in 1896. First went into operation, and it's really the raised steel track that is all over, interlooping through the city of Chicago. And I've always seen that thing rattle by and being so loud passing through, that 6 Points area or whatever the hell it was down there. I wanted to ride that elevated train. So today is going to be the day to do that. So I think that'll be fascinating to try to live stream that and see how that goes.
Well, I'll tell you guys.
Yeah, we will. I will, David Guns. Thank you.
I'll tell you guys what we'll be riding. We're gonna pick up the red line around the north side of Chicago, around the border of Evanston and Chicago, the Howard stop red line, and take that all the way down south. Now, I've warned Rosie, going past 35th Street, where White Sox Stadium is at, past that area can be quite dangerous. The red line ends on 95th Street. And once you get past 35th Street, once you get to 47th, it's decent. And then once you pass 47th and get down to around 79th Street, between 79th Street and 95th Street is a dangerous area. So I warned her against that, but we might take it since it's the daytime and just come back. I wouldn't advise her to get off and walk in the neighborhoods between 79 and 95th Streets.
Well, I don't plan on. You have nothing to worry. Okay, thank you, David Guns. For me, if I'm on the train, I think if I'm not getting off the train, I think it will be fun. But it'll be a nice experience to rattle through these neighborhoods and get the views out the window.
There are some nice places on the south side where there's a vibrant African American community, but actually a lot of good soul food, which is where Obama used to be at. It's like the Bronzeville Hyde Park area. That's the only nice part that's on the south east side. And then there's some bad pockets and stuff that you really have to watch. So
we'll be on our lookout today. I'll be very
but
cautious.
it'll be interesting. We'll live stream it on my channel and Rosie's, and
we'll see how it goes.
It'll be
interesting. It's a better alternative. I'm looking down now, and it's in the shade. It's 95 degrees right now, so
Right.
It's not the kind of day that lends itself to going out to a festival and having beers and then feeling like crap by about 2
Right.
p.m. People seem to grab. Well, people enjoy the Cindy. People enjoy the channel here. They come for the content. Every day, more and more people come aboard. Yes, I lose some people along the way. Am I regretful of that? Of course I am. But channels morph and they change, direction goes, and it's inevitable that you're going to do something periodically that's going to lose one or more people on a channel. And you have to accept that as one of the realities of running a YouTube channel. You have to do what you want to do on your channel. You have to be able to make your own decisions. And then once you've moved in that direction, some people may be upset about it. They will move on, but other people will come aboard that like that direction that you're going. So it's always a reconfiguration of subscribers. You used to say, it was mostly males, like 90% men on your channel, and now
it used to be 80% men and 20% women, and now with the influx of the drama community coming in, my women viewership is between 35 to 40%. It's literally doubled. New people come, new people go. YouTube is a big place. There's thousands of people watching. And that's how it is.
Yeah, and I went from 90% men to 60% women.
My subscribers have actually went up. With over a year ago, I only had about 2,200, and now I've got 6,500. So,
doing good.
But one thing I want to ask you, Rosie, real quick, with seeing Chicago so far, what is your favorite? Well, what's your favorite places that you?
I guess the walk around Halstead and Wrigleyville, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed when the Cubs were getting at it. Cubs fans were coming at a game. It was really cool to see that post-game environment with all of the people pouring into the like the cubby hole and all those. That's a memory I'll never forget of looking up at the Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs sign. I enjoyed that. I like just driving down. I enjoy the architecture, as Marshall knows by this point in time.
Right.
Historically, architecturally, beautiful buildings are fascinating to me. Old theaters that have been repurposed. I enjoyed going down Clark Street to the scene of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Scene where Dillinger was gunned down at the Biograph Theater. I can't really put one above the other. But I can tell you that when I'm out chooching on the streets, that's where I think it's the most fun. Let's see. I would love 60 Minutes in the Jungle Room. Let's see. Yes, the Cubs. It was nice to see. I love the color of the Cubs uniforms too. Sandy Callie, I'm trying to see Sandy on here. I can't. Let's see. I'm seeing where. I've tried to see her. Sandy. Yeah, why am I missing Sandy on there? I don't know. Anyway, Sandy, if you can email me, that would be great. Can you wave, guys? Hey, I can't believe you think we're the only intelligent life in the universe. Why wouldn't I think that? We haven't found any other proof of anything after all this time.
I think
radio, telemetry, signals, nothing.
I think another place
that scares people that that are not God-fearing people. I think that the imperative that we are special and we are alone is a lot for these people to cope with. So they want that feeling like there's many others out there dealing with the same situation, but you never really know. Life is short, eternity's forever. Think about it. Okay. There are more stars in the universe. That's correct. That's correct.
Rosa, you said that you don't believe in extraterrestrials,
correct.
right?
Correct.
That there is no intelligent life.
No, I don't believe so.
If there was, they would have already contacted us.
Well, I'm not sure if they would have already contacted us. The universe's scale is epic, but I always like to say we're on a rock hurtling through space in an expanding universe with no idea the dimensions of what we're in. Where we're going, you know, if there's limits to the universe, we have no idea.
Why do you think there's not another Earth like us? Why don't you think there's another...
I just don't believe. I take more of the, more of the religious bend on it. Do you know how the materials of life arrived on? All I know, Kit and Kat, is something can't come out of nothing, so something had to create that original.
Actually, according to Scripture, even because the Genesis was derived from the Enuma Elish, which predates the Genesis, and it clearly states that it says we made man in our image, which was the Anunnaki.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't want to get down on that, but I'm just saying, you know, God made man in His image, and man's been returning the favor ever since. So, you know, that's my take. Yeah, that's my take on that. You know, you create him in the image of Ashur. The Muslims create him in the image of Allah, whatever that is, and the Buddhists create him in Buddha. It's all over the map.
Did you know that an ancient Egyptian...
Just be nice to each other.
Did you know that an ancient Egyptian art and even ancient Assyrian Sumerian art, that there's drawings of submarines and helicopters and spaceships and astronauts? Are you aware of that?
No, I don't think that they're those drawings. They're figures that people have interpreted to pull them into the modern times.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary imperative for people to think that we're alone. I think has a higher moral.
I think Rosie needs to visit Area 51.
Imperative for people.
I think it's time for you to go to Area 51.
Let's talk about Area 51.
That's
you get out in Las Vegas, you drive 40, 50 miles out to Area 51. You get to the end of a road, a dirt road, and guess what happens at that point? You hit a stop sign and no entry beyond. Now what are you going to do at that point? Get out on foot and start walking around the place in 125-degree heat. I have zero interest in Area 51 out there. It's just me. Nobody's getting into Area 51. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody. What did somebody say about you and Narcy? Put you both in a Lisa Marie and drive to Baghdad.
My dream would be actually to have the Lisa Marie in Baghdad, in downtown Baghdad, and do a driving tour from Baghdad to Jordan to Lebanon to Syria.
Let's go,
in the Lisa Marie. I would love that. That would be a dream.
I'm going to pay to ship the Lisa Marie up the Tigris River right there to Baghdad.
That would be epic. I would love that, to just get there and Rosie knows how much I enjoy my Iraqi culture. Yeah. I love my Iraqi culture.
I've enjoyed seeing you, and I've did a bit to explore that, you know, with the Chaldean culture in Detroit.
You want to kind of reiterate on, now that I've gave you a little bit of an education of Iraqi culture and food and people, and seeing the Dreamland Market and Ishtar and Larsa. Yeah. What do you think about Iraqi culture now? Now that you got a taste of it.
It's a very vibrant. The people are very expressive in nature. You know, they're very animated and very. You know, there's a lot of pride there. I saw where Marshall gets. I don't want to say a lot of his cultural arrogance about things, but. A lot of the men are very over the top with their traditions and feelings of
the women too. Pride. You said are very
well. The women at the dinner table, the women at the feeding tables and restaurants and stuff. They're the bosses of the table. Okay, they're talking. They're kind of running the show at the table, right. And the guy's kind of just sitting back, sipping his tea and just enjoying the scene. But out on the streets, it's a different story, you know. And I've noticed that women definitely sort of take a backseat role, and men tend to be very, very overly dominant in that. I don't want to say alpha, but very in charge of what goes on. And you know, but it's been fascinating. It's the first time in my life I observed that on the East Coast. I didn't have exposure to Middle Eastern culture. In Northern California, we don't have a Middle Eastern culture.
Do you think that
it's Italian, Mexican, and you know, that's about it.
Do you think that Chaldean, Iraqi, Assyrian women are attractive?
Yeah, I think they're very, very attractive. I saw, you know, we went to the Larsa buffet. It was astounding. Some of those women, and then they're all made up to the nines too. Hey, Mr. Z.
Hey, Mr.
How
Z.
are you?
Yeah, Rosie had a lot of eye candy in Michigan. I think the women over there were much better looking than Chicago, right? Don't you think?
I'm not going to make any comments on I got to live with David Guns here in the future.
Oh,
People
yeah.
like that. I got to be nice. I'm not going to say anything about anything about.
I got to do an impression.
Guns, David Guns, coming at you.
Let's see. Obviously, if he thinks his culture is the origination of civilization, didn't it come out of the Tigris and Euphrates?
Rosie always loves to talk about. Rosie is a big lover and defender of China and California. She thinks that China and California are the cat's meow of humanity. But the reality is, writing, civilization, the code of laws, the wheel, even Adam and Eve, and the Anunnaki coming down and helping to create humanity, it all came out of the cradle of civilization, Sumeria, as the oldest known civilization in the world, with writing, with irrigation, with the creation of the wheel, creation of laws. Everything came out of there. We are the cradle of civilization. And Rosie can talk about China all she wants, but everybody knows history. It's Sumeria. Sumeria, which is ancient Assyria, Babylon, in southern Iraq, is the oldest civilization known to mankind, and that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line, man. So make sure if you're on the stream, if you would please thumbs up today. Going to continue the next days are going to be content. I don't have to be anywhere in particular tomorrow. I don't know how long I'm going to be in Chicago. Depends how good a time I'm gone. I got a chance to dig in a little bit and go deep. I got somebody that knows Chicago very well. That has a comfort factor of moving around and making sure I'm hitting everything that's worth seeing. Colleen, aloha. Yeah.
Colleen, aloha.
He is deficient in American history, I will say that, you know, but I try to fill him in on the, you know, at the Ford Museum and something. But I'm a history buff. I'm a history nut of American history, so. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Have been to, let's see, Cindy says, Marshall, have you ever been to Iraq or Afghanistan?
No, I haven't. Now, one thing is, with American history, Rosie is an American history buff. There's a lot to know and learn about American history. You know, in high school, they don't really teach you that much. You get a little bit of an inkling, but Rosie is a history buff. And even going to Ford Museum, I think for anybody who, you know, who doesn't know a lot about American history, or anybody new that's coming to this country wasn't born in America, and you want to get a cultural education about our heritage and our culture, our nation of America, the Ford Museum is a great place to go.
And I have to say,
time capsule of things.
I have to say, in my life, I was always most deficient in African culture and in Middle Eastern culture. So now filling in the gaps with some of the Middle Eastern stuff and understanding what a Chaldean Christian is. And if you are a follower of Christianity or Judaism, to know how heroic these people are to be a little pocket of Christianity in a sea of Islam over there, which I find very almost heroic. And you'll go around and see these bumper stickers and these stickers on cars that'll say "Save Iraqi Christians" and things like that. It's very interesting to me how people hold firm in the face of prosecution, and I can persecution, and I can understand why these people held Saddam for one thing in high regard, because he protected the religious freedom of the people to have that. And now with the tide of Islam, it's very hard. People come under oppression.
What's been cool about Rosie, I was very happy she went to Michigan, because she was able to experience the Muslim, Iraqi, Lebanese, whatever, Arabic culture in Dearborn, and then put that up next to the Christian Middle Eastern culture, of Chaldeans, Assyrians, and Sterling Heights. So, and I'm looking forward. I love Persian and Armenian culture, so I'm looking forward to going to California and checking out all the great Persian and Armenian. There's also Chaldean people there in Southern California, Los Angeles, San Diego. I just love the Middle Eastern. I love our culture. I think overall it's just a beautiful culture. The Persian food,
yeah, and
Armenian.
I've enjoyed seeing somebody celebrate, and I don't know, there was something joyful about seeing him in the midst of all these Chaldean Christians sitting there at the buffet, or the first night we walked into the Ishtar, and it was kind of a draggy ass. It wasn't the best day of all in Detroit. I was trying to get used to the area, and we ended up going over. I don't know why I had a taste for dates, some kind of date bake, some kind of pastry.
It's called Mamoul.
Yeah, we went over there, and the Palm Bakery was closed, and we went into the Ishtar, and to see the change in Marshall was like kaboom. It's like you threw a 50,000 volt switch. He got in there with the guy serving tea and the food, and amongst the people, and the pride of saying this is the wing bulls over here and all that stuff. I mean, I couldn't help but feel like he'd made it home. He'd like come home to his cultural roots, and he settled in like he'd been there forever. I enjoy seeing people enjoy their culture.
I think if I went back to Iraq, I would probably cry, because that's really who I am.
So it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't mean to get him all teary-eyed, but it was wonderful. I would say the same thing with anybody that hit their Irish culture at some event, some major event, or somebody that had some sort of Italian, to go back into the, this authentic is return to Little Italy in Baltimore or something, and revisit that and get amongst those people. It was really, it was a beautiful thing to witness at it, and I don't make any apologies to anybody for saying that. I call it like it is on there, and I just thought if this guy could stay here forever, he'd probably, love Detroit so much, and the food scene.
I felt so at home being around my culture and people. I feel so at home. I feel so, I don't know, it feels good to be part of something. It also feels good to be a nomad and be out there, but it also feels good to be just part of that, that you're part of something.
Yeah, Kit and Kat, as far as my moderators, I just kind of like, I have them to run the shows in here and just do the side chat. It alleviates me from having, they've got good taste in what should go. I mean, these are very skilled. They're the same crew. They're a very select number of people, and they do, I think for the most part, a good job. There's comments when people come in and ask, when is Marshall going to address issues of sexuality? It's not appropriate for this conversation.
Rosie, are you going to, if you go to Southern California, would you ever check out some Armenian and Persian?
Of course.
Persian.
Oh, my appetite has been whetted for and you have to admit you have to say the upside of me is I'll try anything, man. I don't care. I'm a foodie through and through.
Well, you should have tried
Mr. X won't try stuff, but I will. He's the all-American locked into the hot dogs and hamburgers. And
you should have had the pacha that you were talking about at Larsa's, where they had the sheep intestines and stomachs and all that.
That's the only thing I regret didn't have the sheep intestine that was filled with the spice meats. I really you know, I look back and thought, damn, why didn't I give that a try? Because
Yeah.
it looked kind of gamey, but you know what the heck, Sandy Callie. There's sorry if I missed anything you said, Sandy. So I think I'm going to go ahead. We're coming down to the 1 hour mark. I want to thank everybody for being on today. Another day of adventures, real adventures ahead here today. How you doing, JK NoCal? I want to take this opportunity to thank my moderators here who are on the job. Once again, this month I will be tipping out the mods. I will not ask anybody for anything towards that. I will be taking care. It will be a small month, obviously, with you know, with the stuff with YouTube, which I'll get corrected in due course and back on track. But these people are very special. They make the channel go. They don't have to be here, and not every one of them participates either. Some of them are here because they're just also wonderful people. So on that note, I'm going to end it up today. Thank you, Marshall, again, and good morning, everybody. We will see you on the Red Line, a long ride on Chicago's famed elevated rail system through the city of Chicago. Thanks, everybody. Woo!